Some people hate Halifax? What? My name's Nadernejad. I make videos for Canadians and people who want to move to Canada. If you want to come to Canada, learn all about our country, or even if you're in it and you want to support it, be sure to subscribe to this channel. Smash that subscribe button, ring that bell, and you'll get all my updates. Today we're going to be talking about why some people don't like Halifax, why some people really dislike it. And before I go about making this video, I want you to know that I make the most content here on YouTube about Halifax and the city. If there's one guy who creates all the content for Halifax on YouTube, that guy's me. I really love Halifax. I enjoy it here. I think there's opportunity and I think there's potential here. But I'm making this video about some recent comments that I've been getting, and not only recent comments I've been getting, but I know a lot of people move away from Halifax because they're not a big fan of it. So I want to open by saying, no matter where you are in the world, there's going to be people who don't like it. There are people who aren't going to like Paris. There's going to be people... I went to Barcelona. I wasn't a big fan of Barcelona. But anybody else I tell that to is going to say I'm crazy. Barcelona's warm. There's, you know, nice seafood. You can have, like, some delicious, like, you know, treats on the side of the road. And, like, it's, like, all the trees are beautiful. And the culture is thriving. And it's exciting. But I didn't like Barcelona very much. There are people who move to Toronto. People say Toronto is, you know, where the economy is. There's rich people who live in Toronto, and they absolutely hate it because it's crowded and it's a concrete jungle. There are people here in Halifax who don't like Halifax either because, you know, Halifax is small for them. It's cold. Sometimes it can be a little bit bleak and there's not enough going on. So I understand. So I'm going to read a comment I got earlier on. I hope none of you, if you're watching this and this is your comment, it's not a criticism to you. And please don't criticize the people whose comments that I'm reading. I just want to read this to, you know, it's pretty relevant and this is what some people are feeling. So I'm gonna actually read comments that I think aren't for the sake of just trashing things or people's true opinions. So Shelley Hines wrote, I was born in Nova Scotia. I moved to New Brunswick and lived there for 20 years and made it back to Halifax in 2008. I couldn't wait to leave. I moved to Ontario in May 2018 and it was the best move ever. I will never move back to Nova Scotia. Wages suck and almost everything is more expensive. I'm going to start off by saying Shelley Hines has a point. Things are more expensive here in Nova Scotia than they are in Ontario. Are they more expensive than, you know, housing in London? Housing in Toronto is more expensive. Food-wise, you might actually find cheaper food in Toronto. It makes sense. Food has to travel a greater distance to get here in Nova Scotia. It's gotta be more expensive. That's the truth. Also, it's cold, I understand. But being from New Brunswick is quite similar. It may not be as damp as Halifax, but New Brunswick. I've heard New Brunswick called No Funswick, and I'm not trashing New Brunswick. I haven't spent enough time there to know. But, you know, being from New Brunswick, Halifax, for a lot of people, is a step up. So I really think it depends on who you are and what you want from the city. So I'm going to keep reading these comments. M. Boyven Art wrote, don't move there. I lived there because I was stuck living there first with a Navy and then going to school. The place has the worst weather. Like I was wearing a sweater, long pants, and a jacket on the last day of July. The worst healthcare system. There is nothing to do there for entertainment, and outside of Halifax there's nothing. Photos of the internet lie. You will hear the most amazing things about Nova Scotia from people who were born and raised there, but they most likely never traveled anywhere. Rarely I have met someone from Nova Scotia who has traveled outside of Nova Scotia. The job thing and getting a job quickly, sure, you can get a job quickly, but you will be way underpaid. My husband was making half of what he makes now that we moved out of Nova Scotia. He is an engineer. Additionally, traveling anywhere out of Nova Scotia is twice as expensive, so you will be stuck there. A very depressing place. The province is massively taking in immigrants because the economy is stagnant or not growing, so they think that immigrants will open up businesses, etc. But I have spoken with immigrants who started their business there, and they mostly say as soon as they get their permanent residency, they move out of there to Toronto, Montreal, and the USA. Lastly, rents and house taxes are expensive unless you want to live far out and travel to work for 2 hours each way. Traffic is horrible for a small city like this. The typical 15-minute drive takes 1 hour or 2 hours when it snows. As for downtown, you will never go there because it is impossible to find parking, and if you find it, you will have to walk up a steep hill for quite some time through really boring sections of the city. The bus system is the worst in all the larger cities in Canada. The worst. The only thing about Nova Scotia, really nice people, and a good radio station that carries interesting planning-oriented discussions. This shows that people care about the improvement of the city and its politics. So, I'm not gonna go and say that was complete, utter trash and garbage, because it wasn't. That comment actually has a lot of merit, but it's a lot of merit with a very cynical viewpoint. And that cynical viewpoint doesn't come from this person being a bad person. I want to say that. Or just trashing Nova Scotia. This appears to be someone who lived here, who was in the Navy here, because Halifax has a large military community. Okay, I understand. And actually, I see some of myself within this cynic. Well, this person who, like, at least to some people, may appear cynical. Because I have a cynical side when it comes to Halifax. At least I had a cynical side. When I first moved here, I had the wrong expectation of the city. I thought I would come here, everyone, you know, it'd be East Coast, maritime, exciting, there'd be ocean, I'd meet tons of people, I'd be super popular, I'd get to go to parties, I'd live a Wolf of Wall Street type living, but it would kind of be like more maritime-ish, Boston-ish, like I'd be like a pirate. It would be like Pirates of the Caribbean. But you know what? It wasn't like that. It was a little bit bleak. On weekdays there weren't many people outside. It's not a wasteland, don't get me wrong. It's one of Canada's larger cities. But there's something about it where it feels like it has a lot of holes. For example, walking up a hill for a really long time and looking at boring scenery, isn't that like... The fact that this person narrowed on such a specific event that I think everyone in Halifax has been through, something as simple as walking up a hill, but actually hated every second of it, means that this person was probably looking for something in the city that they simply could not get. A taste that they weren't able to satisfy. You know, like if you're really craving a food, like you're really craving sushi and they give you a burger, burgers are good, but you're always gonna have that craving for sushi. This is one of the places where if you move here and you're expecting things to be, you know, hustling and bustling and, you know, a lot going on and, you know, lots of different transportation to cater to you. You just want that whole thriving, like, city that you can do anything like you can in San Francisco. Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit hard for you. But Halifax is one of those places where you can have a lot of potential. Because, for example, if it wasn't for Halifax, I wouldn't be getting YouTube views right now. I wouldn't be able to funnel students to my courses. There's so many businesses you can start here. The fact that there isn't much here means there's not much competition here. I think we need to change the way, this is how I'm gonna end this video. I think we need to change the way we look at things. I can go, oh, none of it is stupid, it's no fun. Up there it's expensive to get there. I can't get a job. Where do I get a job? Like, I can think of things that way. And you know, it's true. None of it, if you want to go to none of it, it probably sucks, like, to go there and like have fun, because there's not like a huge population. There's not as much infrastructure in Nunavut. Like, northern Canada is not the same. So you get what you're getting here, but a ton more of it. But if we keep looking at our country that way, like, oh, screw that, there's no jobs there. Oh, I'm gonna go where there's jobs. Where can I get my 9-to-5 job? You're never gonna be able to build this country up. There's a reason why. You know, the economic situation in the States, not per individuals, but as a country. Or, you know, look at other, like, more economically developed nations with larger populations in Canada that thrive through capitalism. Why they're building and inventing some of the leading technologies in the world, why they're putting themselves on the map, why there's that whole American dream, but the only people talking about the Canadian dream are me and maybe Igor Estev. I'm saying his name wrong, but he makes great videos. There's just very few Canadians really marketing that Canadian culture. And the more we say, oh, Halifax is stupid, Nunavut is dumb, the less we're going to actually be able to advance our economy, make inventions, create things for ourselves. You need to stop thinking about the city as a place that's going to serve you. You need to think about where you can go, create something, and uplift the entire city to make a name for yourself and put that city on the map. And that's the way that I see it. So if you want to come to Halifax and you're an opportunity creator, you understand that it's small, but it also has a thriving aspect to it. If you can hone in on it and you can create something spectacular with that, you, my friend, are going to be set. You're going to be successful, and like I always say, you're going to launch up like a rocket. My name's Nadernejad. This was 10 minutes, but I think it was an important topic we needed to cover. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe, smash the notification bell, and I'll see you next time.